guys, it's Barb with Inspire Me 360, and in this video I want to talk about authenticity and what happens when you start to move into that season where you are emanating from total alignment, or as close to total alignment with your core soul frequency and your soul's mission, and what you'll start to see in terms of the beautiful synchronicities, opportunities that will start to be magnetized towards you, and also some of the triggering that you will see in the world around you. Because again, when you start to really shine the light of who and what you're meant to be, you're going to find that a lot of also darkness gets drawn towards you as well. You will undoubtedly start to trigger a lot of energies as well in the field. And that's really, again, what the light tends to do. It tends to shine itself out on the darkness and kind of illuminate a lot of those negative patterns or distortions in others. But you're going to see that in terms of some negativity that will be coming towards you as well. So I really want to explain this and kind of give comfort to anybody that is on this courageous path, this path towards enlightenment. And it's not just enlightenment, okay? That's certainly the spiritual aspect of the journey, but it's also the enlightenment or the courage to choose the path in life that makes you fully satisfied, which that might be stepping out of a job that is totally mundane and not in alignment with your gifts or what you're meant to do here. It might be stepping away from cultural expectations that don't align with your core soul frequency. It might be leaving a relationship that doesn't serve you or doesn't open your heart fully. So again, all of these alignments or all of these things that make up who you are really a choice towards courage and away from fear, because anything that is preventing us from living in the totality of our joy and who and what we're meant to be is always going to be that distortion, that darkness, that fear. And predominantly what prevents many of us from living this full throttle, all-in lifestyle is that fear that, again, that we're going to be judged, that we're going to hurt others or disappoint others because we're living the path we want to lead. We might have fear that, again, if we're leaving a situation that is heavily laden with karmic energy and involvement, that other person or persons, sometimes it's a whole family group, might be really upset with the decisions that we are making. So it takes a lot of courage to move past that fear that presents itself. But again, that is part very much of Earth's journey, is making the decision to decide on happiness, making the decision to move towards your own joy and what is really the emanation of who you are, that light within. And sometimes that means shutting the doors on things and people and places, jobs, whatever the circumstances, that don't serve you. And this can be difficult to live this authentic path, because oftentimes the journey to getting there, or the bridge that you have to cross to achieve authenticity, means leaving a lot of things that were inauthentic and probably almost predisposed from birth, in terms of, you're given this set of societal rules, your family has their rules and objectives and things that they project onto you that they want you to achieve or be. There's also the, just society in general, whether it is our religious institutions, our schools, what is expected of us in terms of how we're supposed to be this good human and fit into this particular slot. And truly, only you know what creates joy within you. And I'm not talking about a false sense of joy here. So I really want to delineate on that. I'm not talking about, when you're drinking and partying with your friends on the weekend, and yes, that can feel good for a couple hours, but if you wake up with a hangover and you get nothing done for the next 3 days, that's not really the type of joy I'm talking about here. What I'm talking about is the things that are built into you. And everybody has these things. Maybe that is that you love to sing, maybe you love to play music, maybe you're an actor or you're a comedian. And when you're doing that thing, that core thing that is just built into you, that just brings you so much joy. It's the flow state. When you get in that zone, it doesn't matter how tired you were. When you're doing that thing, you just have that instant energy. And for me, there's, a few pieces to that puzzle. For me, it's public speaking. I've always loved to be in front of people. I like lifting them up. I love speaking to them. Obviously, I'm a teacher, and so that part of my life's path was beautiful when I was able to get up in front of students. But now, only owning a bunch of colleges, everything is very heavily administrative, and I'm very much away from, doing the thing that gives me that internal fire. So that's why I've went back to this sort of teaching platform via YouTube. I also need to love to be around music. I love to dance. I love anything to do with that energy of music. And again, as we get older, oftentimes what happens in terms of our authenticity is that we forgo the things that bring us joy for the things that become our obligations. And as we acclimate ourselves into this kind of robotic mediocrity, we slowly die inside. The things that enliven our soul become less and less of a priority, and we essentially train ourselves out of happiness due to obligation. So when you're coming back around into that thing, that purpose that you came here to be, and again, that purpose is you came here to be joyful, you came here to be full of life, you came here to shine whatever it is that you are out into the quantum field and lift people up via your gift or gifts. And through that joy, through that intense vibration of aliveness, you become that out manifesting divine spirit, okay? And it does take courage. It takes an immense amount of courage to be able to live in this way and to essentially put blinders on to the rest of the world and close out the commentary. I know from my experience, again, when I've gone down the path of living my dreams, because it was nothing that I've ever done has been approved of, whether it's my family, whether it's my friends. A lot of times I've always taken the path less traveled, but I've done so wholeheartedly and coming from a heart space of knowing that this was right for me, knowing when I had to leave, knowing when I had to, turn back around. It's always done from a very authentic place. And I've always found that when I'm on that authentic path, I get a lot of pushback. I get a lot of people really not understanding what I'm doing. And quite frankly, if you're going to live through that lens of authenticity, if you're going to really focus in on who and what you're meant to be, you have to trust yourself. You have to trust what is coming from your heart space and what gives you energy, what gives you joy. And don't worry about what the outside world thinks, okay? Because you're going to get a lot of pushback. I get pushback all the time when I'm trying things new, and a lot of criticism. And a lot of that criticism comes from those who are at a very low, dim place. They are not shining their own light. They are not living their own authentic dreams. And so therefore, the way that they counterbalance this is that they try to kind of dampen other people's goals, dreams, aspirations, their larger than life energy. And it's, maybe you call them haters or whatever you want to call them, but this is the part where living your dreams can become a very spiritual and essential path for others. When you can understand that those individuals that are not in the place that they would like to be, whatever negativity that they're projecting onto you really is a state where you can compassion for them, when you start looking at any of these objections from a compassionate state, when you start to love that pressure that's coming towards you and allow it to make you better. So if individuals are being critical, or if individuals are criticizing you, making fun of you, not being your cheerleader, utilize whatever they say, even the most acute criticism. Start to look at it. Sometimes there's a little bit of truth in what they're saying, because those that are highly focused on what you're doing, because again, they aren't living their own dreams, they still might come up with a little bit of good insight in terms of how you can kind of whittle your way into a better version of yourself, or how you can kind of chisel things into a more streamlined version of your own dreams. What I find as well with any criticism or any what we would call perceived negativity, I always love to look at it, because I always think of it as this could also be a sign from the universe of what I can sort of auto-correct and refocus to do whatever it is I'm doing a little bit better. So I love criticism in that way. I like to listen to it, I like to absorb it, and I never let it change the trajectory of what is out emanating from me. Even in terms of how you think of the external reward, okay? And I want to kind of categorize this in terms of, what I'm doing right now with this little mini project on YouTube. So I fundamentally don't care if anybody watches it in the next 5, 10, 15 years. I mean, hopefully people do. But from my perspective of what I'm teaching is that it is putting this positive energy out into the quantum field. It is teaching from the wisdom that I have and the things that I've gained along the way. It's kind of sharing all of those little paranormal, metaphysical experiences that I've also had along my life path that I have always wanted to kind of share and teach from that perspective, and share a little bit of that version of myself, but I never really knew how to do it. And I found it a little bit difficult to align with people in the physical world, because not many people have had the type of sort of spiritual awakenings or kind of paranormal type abilities that I've had my entire life. So again, connecting in with people, especially at the corporate level, because these are the kind of things that you don't talk about. When you start talking about these things, it's almost like people will feel like they can't take you seriously. So again, I'm putting this onto YouTube, putting it out there, and doing it in a way that I really fundamentally feel like it's kind of a breaking open point for me. I've achieved the things I want to achieve financially. I've achieved the dreams that I wanted to create three-dimensionally. And all of those kind of high points have been achieved. Now, could I do more in business? Absolutely. Will I do more in business? Absolutely. But fundamentally, my whole focal point has turned now to what creates immense amount of joy in my life. And that is teaching and speaking and being, with people and really helping them to see their own light and to identify what their purpose is and what their passion is. So if you are out there on this path, similar to my own, and I don't mean similar in what you may or may not be doing, but I mean living your dream, living your gifts. And if you come up against negativity, don't allow it to lower your vibration. Don't take any criticisms that might come towards you as you are not doing something correct. And don't worry about the residual effects in their immediacy. You may not see the reverberations of what you're doing for a long time. That doesn't mean you don't want to do it. Just start doing it. Just start doing what you love for the love of doing it, and stop worrying about if the world likes it. Stop worrying about if you are compensated for it in some way, and just be you. And when you come from that place of this creative childlike joy, it's just fun. And when you're in that energy of it just being fun, it flows. It does something for you. It's healing. So look at anything in terms of from authenticity as self-healing. Don't need anything from it, because the minute that you attach a need to it, where like an external need, well, I need validation, or I need this person to see me, or I'm doing this because of that, or I want to gain money, or I want to gain, fame, or I really want to be the best, musician out there that sells all of these records or something like that. Whenever you attach it to an external thing, like that is goal setting. So on a 3-dimensional level, that's good, but it can kind of create this imbalance in terms of the quantum field and what's going to be magnetized towards you and what will flow into your life. So my suggestion is just create for yourself. Just love what you're doing for yourself. If it's painting, if it's singing, if it's dancing, enjoy the experience, do the experience, and let it heal your soul and let it fill your cup. That's the purpose. And everything else is just icing on the cake. Whatever else comes from it is a beautiful addition to the healing and energizing you will get from living your core soul frequency. And that is the 4th and 5th dimensional perspective of creation. It's not tethered to what you get. It's not tethered to anything. It is just this outward expansion of the beautiful emanation of your soul. So I'm gonna shut this down. I'm gonna kind of relax here, have a glass of wine, and get down to doing some things that I love doing in terms of not making videos. But I hope that this was a little bit inspirational, and I hope that if you are going through any of this backlash in being exactly who you're meant to be, that you don't take it to heart and you definitely refocus and just love yourself and just be exactly who you're meant to be in this lifetime. Okay guys, I'm gonna sign off. Have a great evening.